Good morning. Day 5, better morning today. Still a few clouds around. There's the old big chapel up on the hill. Didn't get to that. The thing with doing this, I was saying about repeating everything, is that you get to your place, especially yesterday, as I said, challenging day all round, as I've mentioned, and you just want to put your feet up and chill out, because this isn't a holiday. That's the thing. You're not coming to see the sights. You're seeing sights, obviously, and experiencing sights and sounds and smells, etc., etc. But it's not a holiday. It's a pilgrimage, whether you're religious or not. And the thing that you're here for is walking, and obviously the ultimate aim to get to Santiago in the end. So, although there are all these places, it'd be nice to go up there, wouldn't it? You're not really in the right frame of mind, because you don't want to mess your legs up and your feet up any more than you need to. Actually, with yesterday, I was saying about my feet. Took my socks, my plastic bags off, and my shoes and socks, and the plastic bag didn't do any good at all. My socks were soaked, my feet were soaked, my shoes were soaked as well. But thankfully, touch wood and all that famous last words, my feet are actually okay. You always feel a little bit sore when you finish a longish day, especially when you've got water in your feet, in your shoes. But I've been very lucky. Lots of other people I talked to got blisters, sore bits, and whatever. And I managed to dry all my stuff out. Another thing for sitting around is actually get yourself together, ready for the next day, whether it be washing your clothing. As I said, I only got 3 bits of everything. I didn't actually need to do that. I'll share those details maybe. But managed to get my shoes dry, which was the main thing. And someone suggested putting newspaper in. I'm not getting newspapers. In fact, I'm not even looking. That's another point. I'm not even looking at the news. Ever since I've been in Portugal, even when I came in with Julie, I've not looked at any news whatsoever, and I intend to keep it that way. That isn't what this is about. This is about getting away from the modern world, he says, talking into a mobile phone, but and uploading the video on the internet later. But you know what I mean. I don't want to know about, Mr. T and all that sort of stuff and all that's going on. Get away from all of that. So anyway, I managed to get my shoes dry. Turned up the air conditioning a bit as well to try and get some warmer air into the room. And stuffed my shoes with toilet paper. And this morning, great. So that was a nice thing to sort of wake up to. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the reasons that people do this. Obviously, the traditional, the older way of doing it, the origins, is a religious pilgrimage to go to the grave of St. James, as I said, one of Jesus' apostles, who came over to try and convert people, and he landed at a place called Padron, which I should be going through, the last stop before Santiago itself. And he landed there, he stayed there for a while, and he went back to the Holy Land and was murdered. And someone smuggled his body out, supposedly, brought it back to northern Spain, to the Padron area. He was buried secretly, and then someone, as you do, had a vision and was told to go and look in this place, and you will find James, St. James. And sure enough, found a body, and they built a cathedral to house it in, hence the cathedral at Santiago. So that's the reason that people come. I mean, people do pilgrimages, obviously, in lots of different religions to different places. But, Rome, Jerusalem, Canterbury even, in the UK, people walk all of those. And traditionally, people, back in the day, before you had all the hostels and all the things that are around now, people literally came out their front door, if they had one, and started walking, and that was it. That's what you did. And then also, if you think about it, when they got to Santiago or to Jerusalem or to Rome, they turned around and went back. They couldn't fly. There were no cars or anything like that, which is a real leap of faith. So that's the obvious way of doing it, but now people do it for so many different reasons. I was ended up having dinner last night with Norma, who I met the other day, and Heather, who comes from Nova Scotia in Canada. A meal in the hotel I was staying in, and And they were talking about it, and Heather has just turned 60. That was her reason. She's doing it on her own, and her husband is coming out to meet her in Santiago when she finishes. Norma sort of more or less was doing it because of her 70th birthday, and she'd had a relationship that broke down and wanted to show that she could be independent at 70 years old or approaching 71. And I'm in awe of these people doing that sort of stuff. And people do it for lots of different reasons. They do it in the memory of lost loved ones. They've got a crisis in their life. They want to just come out and get away, as I was talking about earlier on, get away from everything and do something different. And it's supposed to be one of those things that you find out about yourself. I was talking about that yesterday to a degree. You do, when you do this sort of thing, and the challenges that you have to go through, especially if you do the longer distances, but even 100 kilometres, you know, that's a fair old walk, 60 odd miles, 62 miles. So you're going through all those things. You will suffer, as we did yesterday in the rain and all this sort of stuff. And it is a voyage of discovery. So that's why lots of people do it. And I know what you're thinking, so why are you doing it, Andy? Very good question. And I'm not really sure, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm in a good place in my life. I don't feel that I need to find myself or anything like that, which is one of the reasons people do it. A lot of people say that the Camino almost starts when you finish it, because that's when you because you're doing it, you're not necessarily thinking about it, but once you finish, you start processing all that you've gone through, and it changes people. So I'm not looking for that type of thing. As I said before, I was partly was going to do it because of Julie's brother Nick wanted to do it, but I've always had a hankering for doing this, and it just appealed to me in a weird sort of way. And I like the idea of it, the sort of stripping back, you know, as carrying my pack with all my worldly goods on, which is what an old-fashioned pilgrim would have done. So there is something about that, you know. So I'm not looking to find anything, but it's still a voyage of discovery. It's a voyage of personal discovery. It's a mental thing as well. But I have a bit of experience of that because I used to, as I said, running. I realise I'm going on a bit here, but when I did quite a lot of running, I mean, I ran 4 London marathons, a couple of Beachy Head marathons, and all that sort of stuff. And I equate this, in a way, to something like that as well, because of the training you have to put in. It's not just turning up on the day and doing it, although that's what some people do. Fair play to them, I wouldn't want to do that. But then you never know. I always say with a marathon, you don't walk the full distance in preparation. You don't run the full distance unless you're an elite athlete in preparation for a marathon. You might run, as I did, sort of 20 miles, and the rest you have to leave to hope that you get there. And I used to say to people, you said, what was it like? And you know, I'm going to do the marathon. And I always say, the marathon doesn't really start until 20 miles. Because you've done the training, hopefully. If you've done the training, you're prepared for that. But it's that last bit. That's when the brain and the mental side of it kicks in. And that's when you find out what you're made of. And I actually quite like the challenge of that, in a weird sort of way. Maybe I'm a bit, I may say masochistic, or I don't know. But I actually quite like yesterday, in a perverse way, I actually enjoyed it because it was a challenge. It was different. It was something you wouldn't normally experience. And I think those sort of things, getting all mystical about it, but I think those sort of things do improve you as a person. So, anyway, another thing actually, I know, a lot of people, we had 2 sort of conversations with people when I said I was going to do this. One was, I don't know what it is, Andy, what's your Camino? And the other one was, I've always fancied doing that. And as I said to someone in the comment the other day, if you fancy doing it, just do it. That's all you got to do. The first step is always the hardest one. It's like running. The hardest step is the one outside the front door. From there on, maybe not plain sailing, but it's a lot easier. You just kind of have the balls, the courage, whatever, the wherewithal to get out there and just do it. Anyway, I've rattled on for far too long, and I'm just following the coast now to a place called Praia de Ancora, Praia being beach. About 18k today, hopefully, walking along the, as you can see, another forts. There's forts all over the place, but I suppose that's because it's, as I said, the Atlantic coast. Needed lots of protection from various people. Right, I no doubt will speak to you later on. Bon Camino. I'd stop here, not that far out of Viana, but such a lovely peaceful spot. Just watching the waves coming in from the Atlantic there. The sea is such a great colour as well. They come round. Behind is what they call the campo, which is, they use the same word in Spain. All the sort of agricultural land, and there's birds singing, and it's great. I mean, yesterday there's a lovely bird down there. I'm not sure you can't see it. I can't see what it is actually. I'll walk along a little bit, and nice place just to stand for a couple of minutes. But the swallows and swifts, and house martins, but especially the swallows yesterday, swooping down literally more or less around my legs to get to the water that had been left by the rain. So, and sheep, and you know, the cows and cattle and all that sort of stuff as well. Lemons all over the place, huge lemons on the trees still, and oranges and that. So it's one of those, I say, experiencing it and taking it all in, but listening to the birds and everything. Hear one over there. It's not a skylark, but I'm not sure what it is. Chirping away, happy. Lots of lighthouses along here. Lovely. It's a lovely walk today, actually. And up ahead, I don't know if you can see it through all those hills in the distance. There's a, I don't know if I can squeeze it in actually, let's see if I can do that. Yes, I can. There's a big conical hill right in the centre of the picture, of the frame now, and that is Spain. That's how far. Hang on, let's try and get this back to where it was. Wait, that's it. Yes, that is Spain. So that is just over the border. I can't remember the name of it. It's a big hill, and it's just over the border into Spain. There's a river. I think it's the River Minho, M-I-N-H-O, I believe. And tomorrow, I stopped before there, and tomorrow I should hopefully be crossing the river into Spain and walking around that hill. Wow. I saw that just a minute ago and I thought, wow, that just shows you how far you've come already, Andy. And the fact that the next country you can see from here. Great stuff. Hola. Made it. Villa Praia de Ancora. What a lovely looking beach, isn't it? Lovely sandy beaches here, the hills here. And come from way over that way today. Back over in the distance there. Another bridge. Yeah, I think I might be able to see it over there actually somewhere. Another bridge over a little river into the town. And a really nice day's walk actually. Came along the coast because up here is where the actual official coastal route would have come through, and it would have been a bit like yesterday. Up in the hills, the nice little villages, cobbled streets and all that sort of stuff, and through some of the wooded valleys. And I should imagine it looks a lot better today than what it looked yesterday. No rain today, no rain at all. Been a nice day. You know, not too hot and not too sunny, so it's good walking conditions. And the winds are never too cold. It's a nice sort of temperature as well. Picked the right time in that respect. But I didn't fancy going up in the hills today. Apart from the fact that, you know, you've got all these beaches and everything around here, which we walked along all day, along boardwalks and all that sort of stuff, and I just thought it might be still a bit muddy up there, up in the hills as well. But as I said, a really nice day's walking, really pleasant to walk like that. And I suppose that all comes down to this tide's coming in. It's getting a bit close. I might have to move up the beach a little bit. It's funny, I was only talking about this earlier on, about is it tidal around this area, but nice to be by the sea though, isn't it? And I forgot, well, I've lost the thread there, but I'd saying earlier about whether it was a reaction to yesterday. You know, yesterday was a good day, as I said, but also there was that thing about getting into the groove, I suppose, of doing something like this. Any longer walk, you know, people do long walks in the UK, they do them all over the world, don't they, on different trails, etc. So exactly the same as what you're doing on a Camino, but I suppose Camino's different because, as I may have said, just about everybody's walking in the same direction, although funnily enough we've actually seen a few people that are walking the other way, and met some people earlier on and said, well, what are you doing? You're going the wrong way. They'd already been to Santiago and they'd been to Finisterre, which is just not that far from Santiago, and now they were walking back to Porto. And also there's another shrine, Catholic shrine to Fatima, and a place called Fatima, and a lot of people go there, and there's blue arrows that send people in that way, and they walk from Santiago to Fatima, so they could be doing that sort of thing as well. But I think it was an element of getting into the groove, especially from my point of view. I was saying about it being a challenge, and you're never quite sure how you're going to react to that challenge and how you're going to mount up to that challenge type of thing. And there was, as I said yesterday, about getting in that sort of mindset and how your body reacts to these constant walking, the sort of, 10, 15 or more miles per day. I did about 18 kilometres today, so that 12, 13 miles, something like that today. So not too bad, not too bad, but it didn't feel like that at all. And I think my body sort of settled down into that sort of groove, which I've read is what happens after about 3 or 4 days. If you've done a reasonable amount of training, your body just gets used to doing the walking. And as I said before, I've been very lucky with my feet and everything. So, touch wood, no blisters, no bad spots or anything like that, no real soreness or anything of that description at all. Whether that's just down to the sort of general level of fitness that I've accrued over the years, as I alluded to a bit earlier on, the practicing or the training, etc. that I've done, having honed that. I mentioned running earlier on, and there is an element of that with listening to your body. Having been running now on and off for like the last 35 years or something like that, and also doing a reasonable amount of walking, you do get to learn to listen to your body and how, little tweaks coming to, right, okay, Andy, stop now, think about this, and all that type of thing. So you do tend to know, whereas other people probably aren't in that way. And you do see people and you think, wow, they're doing this and they don't look fit. I know nothing against them at all. But they're doing it and they're out there. That element of what I was saying earlier, that if you fancy doing it, just go and do it. You'd be amazed at the sights of the people that you think, no, they can't do it, but they're doing it, and they're having a go, and they're giving it a go. Well played to them. So there you go. So that's today. Tomorrow, I mentioned earlier on actually, that mountain or that hill. To Spain, and that we can see that very clearly from here, actually not very far away from that, the river mouth and everything. And it seems strange that here I am sitting on the Portuguese beach, and tomorrow I'm just going to walk round the bend about only probably 5, 6, 7 miles, something like that, get on a little boat, go across the river, and I should be in Spain, in a different country, in a different time zone actually, and a different language and all that type of thing, different type of beer. All those sort of things. So anyway, so there we are. A good day, as I said. A nice, really, one thing. So with all the sand dunes on boardwalks and that again, saw so many lizards today. Both small and not so small lizards. Loads of them. I don't think I've ever seen so many lizards, even in places like Costa Rica. Loads of bird life and wildflowers. Actually, another thing. We go on about this at home, all over the place. Just. Stunning. So anyway, so there you go. A good day, feeling good, as you can probably tell. You never know with these things, as I said before. You approach them with a certain amount of trepidation. You think, even if you feel that you're fit enough, there's always that thing, can I do this? At the moment, yes, I can. That's Bob the Builder would say. Or Andy the Walker would say, Anyway, I shall leave you with that, and I'll leave you with this nice view of the lovely bay here at Praia de Ancora. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.